All right. In this case, I'm trying to multiply two complex numbers together. Each of these two complex numbers has a real part, right? An A and then a BI. And then this one has its own A and then a BI. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to multiply those two together. If we were adding them together, it'd be a piece of cake, right? If I had something like -6 minus 5i plus 9 plus 2i, that's its own A plus BI, and then A plus BI, and I'm adding those two together. That would be a piece of cake because I'd just add the real parts and add the complex parts. And so I'd have the -6 plus the 9, which would give me a 3. I'd have the -5i and the 2i, and give me a -3i. And I'd box that answer and I'd be done with it. But that's not what we're being asked to do with the two complex numbers here. Here, we're being asked to multiply them together. But just like when we multiply binomials together, our old rules still apply. Just like when we added those two complex numbers together, our old rules still apply. And so if I'm taking this 1 plus 3i times 1 minus 4i, yes, you can FOIL. If you remember FOIL, if you've memorized FOIL, if you live by FOIL, you can FOIL. I'm going to show you how to distribute this without FOIL because I don't particularly like memorized patterns. What I want to do is I want to take this 1 plus 3i and I want to distribute it through the parentheses. Well, what's that going to give me? That's going to give me 1 plus 3i times 1. And then it's going to be minus 1 plus 3i times 4i. Well, now I've got to distribute this through those parentheses, this through those parentheses. Well, the 1 distributing through the parentheses is trivial, right? I just literally get 1 plus 3i. And I got to be a little bit careful because that negative also has to go in through the parentheses as well, right? And so it's going to be -1 times 4i. And so it's going to be minus 4i. And then it's going to be negative times 3i times 4i. Might have been better to keep that as a positive and then keep the negative associated with the 4i. It would have been a little simpler to think about. But anyway, for this last term, what am I going to get? That negative times the 3i times the 4i. And that's going to give me minus 3i times 4i. Okay, well, I have like terms here. I don't have like terms here because that's I squared. That's something else. But what do I have? I have 1 minus I minus 12i squared. It's an I. If you can't read my writing, it's an I squared. Well, if I is the square root of -1, then I squared equals the square root of -1 squared, which is just -1. And so what just happened? That became -1, which makes that a positive 12, makes that a plus 12. And so what I end up with is 13 minus I, because I have 1 plus 12 is my real part. Hope that helps us with multiplying two complex numbers.